Chaile style. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Chaile Time. Toby,
Tsepo.
welcome. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. How was your Easter?
My Easter was good.
You went to DJ somewhere.
I went to DJ, yes.
And?
It went well.
Did you enjoy it?
I did enjoy. Even my voice is a bit...
What's wrong with your voice? DJ don't sing. A DJ do...
you won't understand. It's fine. Let's...
See, dance and celebrate with.
I'll show you something one day. So what's on the news? Or what are we talking about first? Are we talking about our last 2 weeks experience? Or let's finish with the news first.
Let's first some news highlights. Yeah, look, we haven't seen each other now for 2 weeks. We haven't had a Chaile time for 2 weeks now. Largely because of Easter and so. Yeah, so obviously, there's the big news, I suppose, at the moment is fuel, petrol price, diesel price. And I just saw in the news this morning, they are forecasting for the month of May increases of petrol for about another 5 rand a litre, and diesel another 13 rand a litre.
How are we going to beat this?
I'm actually excited.
Why?
If I have to be selfish,
yes,
I'm excited.
Okay.
The reason why I'm saying that is, pre-COVID, from our industry, yes, HR and legal and these kind of things, you always had to go and meet a client in person. But then you had COVID, and suddenly COVID was a catalyst for online meetings, online hearings.
Work from home.
No, not work from home.
I know.
We don't do work from home.
No, but I'm just saying in a bigger picture.
It was, so since then, I'll probably safely say that by far the most of our hearings are online. Yes, you also have much more online CCMA cases. I think we can do more. But we are going into uncertain times geopolitically now, especially with all these crazy wars and stuff going on. Now, with the petrol price hiking or spiking the way it is, I think this is just going to be another catalyst for corporate South Africa, or I suppose globally, to say, listen, we really need to get out of our cars. So now all hearings, all meetings is just going to be online, and I think the CCMA also now wake up and smell the coffee to say, listen, we can't do this online thing, we just need to focus a bit more on it. So from a business perspective, it's good. Yes, it just saves so much time. The effectiveness your efficiency is increased, and obviously there's a huge cost saving to that. So I suppose to some degree, we're not going to be so dependent on petrol anymore, But let's see, what else are we going to do? I mean, we've now already added a surcharge for fuel on top of our normal travel fees. But you can only go so far. So eventually one's going to have to dismiss the petrol.
But now it's also going to affect the cost of living.
Yeah, so I was only looking at it from one aspect. You can't hide from the fact that it's going to increase cost of living, like you're saying now. Everything just go up and up, and government is trying to create some form of buffer, but they can only go so far.
Yeah, I saw that Godongwana trying to cut in 3 rand and add another 3 rand. They're trying to put the puzzle together, but yeah, let's just wait and see. So what's been happening in your life?
Well, before I go to what's been happening, what is the average salary in South Africa? What do you think? Statistics South Africa gave us this revelation.
I think, I don't know if I had correct, some people were arguing about it. I think they said between 10 and 15,000.
The average salary in South Africa is 30,000 a month. Can you believe it?
That's average.
That's what they say. Then in business tech, they've now got this article about the 57 jobs that currently pay more than the national average. I'm not going to go through all 57, but let's just go to the top 5 quickly.
Okay.
So number 1,
The president.
the industries with or the kind of job with the. Why did you say the president? Okay, this is formal.
I'm joking.
We're talking about the formal sector. We're not talking about the informal.
I'm joking.
Listen, let me tell you something.
Yes.
A couple of years ago, a friend of mine, a friend of yours too, I'm not going to say his name.
Yes.
He used to be in cinemas with us.
Yes.
He opened a fast food shoppy in one of the poorer areas. Tepo, you think poor people don't have money? There I've seen gogos come buy food for I don't know how many people, but they take out the 200 rand notes, packs like this. I'm looking at them like, there's no average salary there. There it's just millions. Anyway, the top 5.
Okay.
Number 1, activities auxiliary to financial intermediation. I suppose that's in the financial sector, okay? Which is in the business services sector. That's the top salary earning job.
That's Catherine Street there in Sandton.
Yeah, that's Sandton. Oh, Discovery. Okay. Number 2, electricity, gas, steam, and water supply. So I suppose if you work for Eskom, you're going to get moolah. That's why they got all these price hikes, you see.
Okay.
Number 3, computer and related activities.
That's your IT.
Your IT and those people. I must just put this boom down here. Sound. That was number 3. Number 4, air transport. Eh?
Okay.
And then number 5, collection, purification, and distribution of water.
Air transport.
I suppose pilots.
That's right. SAA every 3-4 years it needed a bailout because now they're spending a lot on salaries. Ne?
I think, no. I think, globally to be a pilot is a highly competitive kind of job, They earn good money, every single one of them. And then number 5, collection, purification, distribution of water. Those are the top 5, Tsepo. So, but you've been asking what's going on in the lifestyle. There's a lot happening at the moment. So we're going to have a very great podcast soon. Watch this space. It's about how to deal with aggressive lawyers at the CCMA. People have different personalities, and sometimes you have those who are very accommodating. They just want to be on your side. Whatever you say is just yes. If you want to settle, yeah, by all means. But then you get those assertive type. Those type that while they're talking to you, they sort of get on the table. So how are we going to deal with that? So I'm busy with 2 cases, with 2 of them. And it's quite interesting, but I'm not going to talk too much. I'm just saying FYI, I think that's going to be a very exciting podcast. We're going to go into that character and what to look at if you're facing a person like that. And also, if you are a person like that, I'm just going to highlight where your strengths are, what is good about that kind of approach, and what is not so good. So in all these kind of personalities, so we are going to go through the 3 or 4 different kind of personalities that you'll find at the CCMA. But that will only probably be like in a month or 2's time, okay? And it is not about right or wrong, because each personality type, they've got some strengths and there's weaknesses too, and we'll go through that, but specifically focusing on the assertive type. But something else that we are busy with. You must listen to this now. One of our clients dismissed an employee. But this employee opened a Section 73 dispute. His salary is 20,000 Rand a month. And so he went to open Section 73 dispute, claiming 58,000 Rand in outstanding overtime payments, claiming a salary increase that was promised to him. He's claiming back pay for unauthorized deductions that was made, and there was something unfair suspension. He was claiming this too. Okay, so I'll say all in all, probably about 70,000-80,000 rand that the company owes him. But now here's the thing: in his contract, there's a clause that says your 20,000 rand a month salary is all inclusive of all overtime. Now, personally, I've got a problem with a clause like that. Because the basic condition states that an employer, in providing written particulars of employment, must give a breakdown of how you earn your remuneration. But that contract doesn't say that. So I always had an issue with this because it seems like an employer can very easily hide behind the contract now says that your basic salary includes overtime. Therefore, we can make you work as much overtime as we want. There's no control. So it can't be. Surely there must be a breakdown as to what your anticipated overtime and public holiday and Sunday work will be, and this is how you are remunerated accordingly. Nothing of that. So as far as I'm concerned, I'm not so sure if that kind of contract is or clause is really so legit, but be it as it may. So went for arbitration 2 weeks ago, but as it is with Section 73 disputes, the employees don't, in the 711 application form, actually give a detailed breakdown of what they are claiming. So the employer always goes in blind. You don't know what to prepare for. So we went there and said, listen, Mr. Commissioner, we don't know what to prepare for. He just says outstanding money. What? We don't know. So the Commissioner adjourned but gave a ruling because he's asking for, he only had some of his timesheets. He wanted all the other 6 months timesheets. So the company then gave him all the timesheets. So we went back there, and that is where all these amounts came from. But this is a thing. Every single shift you work, and the company agrees, you work 12-hour shifts. So technically, every single shift, you earn something like 4 hours of overtime, which is quite a lot. So, we agree with the amount of overtime he's claiming.
But.
So... we argued, Ma'am Commissioner, you see this contract says your 20,000 rand is inclusive of all overtime. And when we take the amount of overtime he's claiming and deducting it from the basic salary, his basic then is still double the national minimum wage. Good argument. I think it's nonsense, but it's good. But it's a good argument.
But there's an interesting question now, because of different sectors and different market-related salaries. His job, now when we talk about minimum wage, is it in line with this line of work?
Well, I think you're alluding to the bargaining council and the minimum wages in terms of the main agreement. That specific main agreement, yes. His job is pertinently excluded from that main agreement. So he falls back, his job, the role falls back on the basic conditions.
Okay.
But the reality of the matter is, if you take his basic salary, you take it out, all the overtime that he was claiming, all the payments that he was claiming, he was still on double national minimum wage. But be it as it may, the employee was apparently, according to they did continue with arbitration.
Yes.
But the employee was asking for a couple of months. He was actually asking eventually for 15,000 rand settlement because he needed for rent. They're going to kick him out on Monday, which is now Easter Monday. Okay. The company said no, but I will give him 10,000 rand. So he didn't agree, so they went for arbitration. I didn't lead this case. One of our colleagues led the case, and I told her, listen, just leave it. I'm sure by Monday he's going to accept the 10,000 rand. Lo and behold, by Sunday, ring, he accepts the 10,000 rand. So we entered into a settlement agreement right there for 10,000 rand, okay? But then yesterday, she went back to the CCMA for another case and gave the settlement agreement to that commission. Ask her, just for curiosity's sake, who would have won the case? She said the employer. But she can't make it formal.
Yeah, she can't formalize it now.
So I'm like, damn, we settled on 10,000 rand. I'm not so sure if I agree with that. I mean, come on. I mean, you can't pay somebody 5,000 rand a month and the rest is overtime. Apparently you can.
Remember, again, my conversation earlier. Principle versus technicality. I'll leave it there.
Technicalities. Yes, I'm telling you, that is why, yes, you're so right, Sepo. That's why people, they get angry at each other, the employer and the employee, because this is going both ways. And you think, I'm going to go to the CCMA, or I'm going to fight you until whenever. But there are technicalities, man.
Yes. Remember last week, I went to chair a hearing. The employee brought a file like this, bundle, everything. But now she thought she was being headhunted or targeted or witch hunted. But they had a grievance meeting which was dealt with, and then something was discovered later that she committed a misconduct. But she got confused that on the same day of her grievance, that's the same day now she was charged. And then looking at the timestamps.
Oh, technicalities.
But she brought a paper like this without checking the timestamps and the dates. So this is what I'm saying. Sometimes, like you're saying, people are always angry, always fighting, because you could see that she was angry, that person. But she wants to ignore the fact that she did commit a misconduct. It's got nothing to do with her grievance, because her grievance was attended to and she was given an opportunity. And something was discovered late.
Yeah. Anyway, so today.
Yes.
The title for today is Behind the Mask, Conflict of Interest Exposed. Behind the Mask, Conflict of Interest Exposed. So we've alluded to this case previously. So the focus today is not necessarily the conflict of interest part. I think we all sort of know by now you're not supposed to enter into a conflict of interest with your employer. So we have not dealt with this case properly because we only received the arbitration award last week, and we as the employer or representing the employer, we won the case. But this is a conflict of interest case, but what I want to really highlight today, it's sometimes a case can, on the face of it, look so massive. With all these lawyers involved. This case can be going on for more than a year at the CCMA.
You're talking too much about lawyers these days.
I'm telling you, currently my life is just full of lawyers. Just everywhere I look, every dispute is just lawyers. I mean, tomorrow, Chepo, I need to help a very high-ranking person in a global company move on. So you can just imagine, it's just once again going to be lawyers. But be that as it may, the focus of this case is, in this case, also a lot of lawyers at the CCMA. The employee had 3 lawyers. Okay? And they had all these arguments, and we're going to go through quickly what the arguments was. But at the end of the day, the commissioner, in a very short paragraph or two, just cut through the chase. And come on, guys, this matter is extremely simple. So what was the case about? So this case, the employee is it's a case in Cape Town. Okay, so this case, the employee was a psychometric assessor for this company, and she's got something like 30 years HR experience too. So she's quite senior, and she was charged for conflict of interest because on her Facebook page she posted advertisement of psychometric assessments to be done. But that's not also her role in the company. Doing it for the company and for all their clients. So she was then eventually put in a hearing. I chaired the hearing, I think it was it's just slightly more than a year ago. Chaired the hearing, found her guilty. In the hearing, she pleaded that we give her a final written warning. And then I tested her. I asked her, listen, for me to apply my mind to whether you must get a final written warning or not, talk to me about the status of your business. Are you willing to let it go? Because she just said that the reasons why she's having it is to earn an additional source of income. Is she willing to forfeit the business? Because it isn't direct conflict with what you're doing here. And she couldn't commit to that. So then I thought to myself, the purpose of a warning now is try to rehabilitate the person.
Yes.
But if you can't understand that you need to self-correct, then what's the point of giving you a warning or final warning? The disciplinary code provides for a dismissal. So I didn't see any reason why not to uphold the disciplinary code, dismissed her, but she went to the CCMA. But let me talk about the noise. So in the arbitration award, I'm going to read her defense, which is the noise. Okay? And if you're like an HR or a senior kind of person, I suppose, when you have a dispute, you must have an argument. You must have a line of attack. You can't go to the CCMA and not say anything. But this is clear that, she was actually in a way embarrassing herself. Anyway, let me read this person's defense. The applicant testified that she has been an employee of the respondent since 2024. And before that, she was employed by another company. So in this case, the current employer took over the business in a Section 197 transfer as a going concern. So her duties included psychometric testing for recruitment and development. When people apply for positions, she does assessments to determine suitability for position. She assesses managers and people in non-management positions, not children, in terms of her job now. She only performed duties for clients, dealership staff when she's working for the respondent. Her role was in line with her job description and she never deviated from it. Her contract of employment was sent to her by her line manager in 2024 and there was no training provided on the contract. Interesting. So you already can see, I didn't get training. It's like the go-to thing when you don't have a case.
I
didn't get training.
Everywhere you go, everywhere you go, someone will throw that, I don't have a training.
The contract was resent in January 2025 after it was contested by staff. She, however, did not sign it. So she believed because she didn't sign it, it wasn't valid. Interesting. In addition, the disciplinary code was not explained to her. Okay? Especially conflict of interest and competing, as she never received any training on any of these policies. So she doesn't know what conflict of interest, and she actually in arbitration said she doesn't know what conflict of interest means. She used her dormant Facebook page to post adverts. They were old adverts from around 2020 or 2021 when she was not employed by the respondent and she simply reposted them without thinking. The posts were meant for high school students and she never had any active clients from the adverts. She was simply exploring if there was interest in the service and the post was taken down within 24 hours. Now, interesting is when I testified, a lawyer asked me, so I said, look, on the advert, there's nothing there that says this is just for kids. Even the show, she's saying that's her and that's what's the intention, but it doesn't say kids. But there is like a picture of children of different races, or not children, of young people. It wasn't kids, of young people on there from different races.
And that's what she's claiming, that's a target market.
Yeah, so the lawyer was now asking me, can't you see that these are children? So I had to eventually tell him, listen, sunshine, now you want me to comment on what race is a person, what gender is a person, how old a person is by looking at the picture. That's not going to work. I mean, I have, sometimes now you see a movie of school kids. So there's a girl, she's young, but she's actually 35.
Yes.
Yeah, on the picture she looks 10, but she's actually 50. So how can I comment on the age of people based on the picture? Anyway, the applicant further testified that she understood that she could not do anything that is in conflict of her role or during office hours. Interesting is, she also, these advertisements, there's quite a few of them, she posted them during working hours. What's quite interesting is this lawyer actually made a strategic mistake. He never argued that point. He never rebutted the fact that she posted these things during working hours. He completely forgot about that. So that was a okay. If the business was running, she would have sought advice and would not continue. After she was told that her Facebook posts were a problem and a dismissible offense, she took them down. She only became aware of the disciplinary code on 10 March 2025 after she was suspended. Under cross-examination, the applicant said that she is not guilty of the charges against her. There were a lot of technicalities in the contract of employment and she doesn't understand all of it. Although she was previously a human resources consultant, she did not deal with contracts of employment and never had to explain them and policies. Weird. She was trained in human resources 30 years ago. She sought and received permission for her lingerie business, and she understood the requirement to disclose. Now, interesting is, at the time of the Section 187 transfer, she copy and pasted the clause in the contract that speaks about not being conflict of interest and having to disclose business interest to the company. She copy and pasted it into an email and sent it to a new line manager and asked them for permission to continue with her lingerie business because the previous employer allowed her. And the new employer said, no problem, because it wasn't in a conflict.
It was not a direct competition or doesn't have a conflict.
Yeah, so it's amazing that she doesn't understand the contract, but when it suits her, she does. Anyway, her intention was to service high school students, and the Facebook post was for them and their friends. The Facebook posts were exploratory because she had her lingerie business for extra income. She does not understand that to constitute a conflict of interest. If business had taken off, she would not have resigned because she enjoyed her job. She would have done business after hours. She couldn't commit to closing her business, even though it's in a conflict. But interesting is, Tsepo, during cross-examination, you must listen to this now, we ask her, so if any of the employer's clients would have phoned her to do a private psychometric assessment, what would she have done? But the question was quite quick on her. She said she wouldn't have done it because that would have been a conflict of interest. So tell me, so you do understand what the conflict of interest means? She says, what, literally, what did I say? What did I say? What did I say now? She lost the case right there. That same day, Tsepo, while we had a little bit of a break, I think it was lunch or something, I went to stand outside in the passageway and there was another commissioner there. So I just did some small talk with this another commissioner. I asked him, how must it feel to listen to people's disputes every single day? You know what he told me? I'm not listening to disputes. I'm listening to lies every day. And I have to figure out who's lying.
That's what other commissioner said to us. The reason we are trying, in Limpopo, the reason we are trying to settle is because a lot of people come here, they think they just come to collect their paycheck and then leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why now we are trying to settle, because now this person is not ready, doesn't understand what they are doing. And it's sad to look at someone with confidence like this walking in here only to find that they don't know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So we are here doing tens and thousands of cases, but they try 90% of success rate in settlements.
But interesting, yeah, had the business taken off, she wouldn't have closed it. So what is a warning to help? But anyway, she did not see any conflict in having the title of her Facebook page as a recruitment, and that is the reason she did not seek any permission. And that is exactly what she's doing for the company. She would have asked for permission if had received clients from the adverse. Although she does not understand the conflict of interest, she knew a rule existed, but it was not explained to her. She concedes that as a specialist, she occupies a position of trust, and like everyone, she is expected to be diligent about the rules and policies. She did not request policies because there are hundreds of policies. The applicant also testified that she did not inform anyone that she does not understand the clauses contained in the contract of employment about employees agreeing to act with honesty, integrity, and the onus to inform the respondent if a conflict of interest arises. She did not accept contract of employment because she did not sign it. That's her view. Interesting. I see this actually quite often. I didn't sign the contract. So I'm like, are you going to refund the money then? Because the contract says what your pay is going to be. No.
But you've been doing the job, which means an agreement has been honored, whether you signed it or not. You are doing the job every day.
Tsepo, I feel like throwing a freebie here.
Okay.
I wonder where this contract thing is coming from. You know the Basic Conditions of Employment Act, in the chapter that deals with written particulars of employment, only states that an employer must give an employee written particulars of employment. It doesn't say contract. So when an employee starts, you need to give him a document that says, here's your T's and C's. Not, do you agree, please sign.
The comrades will fight with you now. because
That's the law. The law doesn't say you must negotiate on anything or agree on anything. It just says the employer must tell you there's like a list of 10, 15 elements that must be in that document, and you must give it to him. Bye-bye.
you know,
Not go and sign.
I was dealing with a case of kitchen staff eating sweets because they were preparing a platter.
Yeah.
So you can see she's throwing whatever that she was throwing, and then she ended up doing it in her mouth. And the comrade is like, does she have a warning, previous warning for similar thing like this one? And I'm like, most than this man is now admitting that this is wrong.
This is wrong.
Yeah, because now if you are gonna ask that question, that
Half of the hearing is done.
so the comrade like throwing those technicalities, but they like stretching them. So now if you're gonna say it's just a piece of paper where we agree, they're gonna fight with you.
That's the law, Chaile. Okay, when it was put to her that she used her knowledge of the industry to run a side hustle, the applicant replied that it was only for students, and she did not say she cannot stop the business. Oh, she couldn't say that she can either. During re-examination, the applicant reiterated that the contract of employment was not explained to her. When during the disciplinary hearing, she requested the application of progressive discipline, she was not admitting guilt. What did they do?
That's what I just said. No.
But was suggesting a solution because the respondent's policy provides for progressive discipline. Not in this specific instance. The code actually provides for dismissal. So, okay, so it's been this big case. All these lawyers, they've made this big issue about, I didn't know, I didn't understand, I've got no idea what I was doing, it wasn't explained to me, poor me, I just, shame on the employer. Okay, so the commissioner, interesting, he highlighted Schedule 8, okay, Item 7, which deals with there must be a rule, must be a valid rule, a reasonable rule. The employee should have been aware of the rule. Simple. So it's not asking about training. It's not asking about access to intranet. Also, do you know the rule? Okay. The applicant conceded that she was aware of the requirement to disclose the business she was involved in. Hey, simple, eh? Nice and sweet.
So how would you be willing to disclose if you don't understand that there is something that is called conflict of interest?
You've got two businesses, you know how to disclose the one, but the other one, the one that's like your job, you don't disclose. Nice and sweet, she knows. This is also indicated by her requesting permission to continue with her lingerie business. She does not challenge the validity or the reasonableness of the rule or its consistent application. Her defense centers on her claim that she did not breach the rule because her adverts were targeted at a different clientele, namely high school students. But the cursory reading of the adverts indicates differently. Firstly, it is not explicitly indicated in the adverts that the services are for high school students. It's not. In addition, one of the services she offers is recruitment, a service offered to employees of people seeking employment in terms of her job now. This is one of the services offered by the respondent, which she was responsible for. The other part of the applicant's defense is that the respondent's policies were not explained to her and that she did not agree with the contract because she did not sign it. It must be noted that the applicant is a senior employee with extensive background in human resources. The contract is written in plain and did not need to be explained to her to understand it. Additionally, she could have requested that explained to her if she felt the need to do so. Despite not signing the contract of employment, she tacitly bound herself to it by not raising an objection and continuing with her duties. So you continue with your duties, you're not objecting, you accept the contract of employment. All the evidence led by the respondents point to the applicant breaching the rule that required her to declare her interest and to avoid conflict of interest. The respondents' witnesses were coherent and credible. As for the applicant, she struggled to defend her conduct and to show that she was not in breach of the respondents' rule. Therefore, the dismissal was procedurally and substantively fair. I like it. It was short and sweet, no fancy arguments. There's a rule, you're aware of the rule. Okay, you have breached the rule.
So after now you did your case and everything, on the day of the case, when you finalize now, after your argument and everything, how was the mood now with the lawyers?
I wouldn't. I don't know because you sort of say goodbye and you just leave. You leave them, How their mood was, I've got no idea. But let's just go to, for me also to show, that you can have all these complex arguments, and employees like hiding behind, I wasn't trained. I need to understand this. The code of good practice asks, is there a rule? Do you know the rule? Or should you have known the rule? That's it. Not whether it was intranet or whether there was training or a workshop. Those are additional benefits. Anyway, that is for today. Conflict of interest, it is still a dismissible offense. It's still a breach of trust. It's still a dishonest practice. And you're not going to hide easily behind, I don't know if you're a senior employee.
Yeah, no. I hope our viewers heard and then now they understand because we're closing this chapter now.
Yeah.
Remember we opened it last time, now we just closed
This
it.
chapter is now closed. The case is done. It took us like a year, maybe just a little bit longer than a year. But we can move forward now.
Okay.
Sepo,
Job reviews.
Job reviews.
Okay.
Let's see what our fresh vacancies in our network up next.
Okay. Thank you very much. See you next time.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Good morning, everyone. Let's have a look at some of the vacancies posted nationwide on our Harmony People's Network this week. First up, ARWYP Medical Center is looking for a human resources manager in Kempton Park. Mangosuthu University of Technology has a vacancy for a human resources director. Basadi has an opening for a junior warehouse manager in the Western Cape. And in Johannesburg, there is an opportunity for a business development manager. For the full information of the mentioned positions, how to apply, as well as more available positions, find the vacancy link in the description. You will also find a link to a useful video on how to compose a winning CV and have a successful interview. Tune in again next week for more Harmony vacancies.